Held at the Wynn building downtown, residents packed the room to hear the vision of a more inclusive framework that gives power to both workers and employers. Minister Glover Roll hailed the moment as historic, a nationwide conversation that started 2 years ago with the National Tripartite Council, now igniting change from New Providence to Grand Bahama and well beyond. Marlena?
Thanks, Royston. Well, Chef Mark strikes up conversation on social media with his newest creation. Well, let me not be a spoiler. Here's Matea Cunningham, and let's talk socials.
Have you ever heard of a good old-fashioned hot dog sandwich? Don't you just love the tangy mustard, the complimentary ketchup, smooth mayo, and the twist for the bun? Okay, let me take a few steps back. If this is your first time seeing my face, I'm Matea Cunningham, your host for the social media segment Let's Talk Socials. This segment entails me giving you the rundown on what's happening on social media. Today, the popular chef Mark, known for his wildly creative takes on Bahamian dishes, did something a little different with the classic hot dog. That's right, he replaced a standard bun with a fresh and homemade twist. Now, if you're not Bahamian, think of a twist as a donut, but elongated and twisted, hence the name. Personally, I'm way too picky to enjoy this meal, but let's have a look at some of the Facebook comments. 33 says, "Y'all Bahamians don't know the meaning of I on a straight diety. I'll take 6, please, and a cold Coke." Kevin Scott said, "They say the way to a man's heart is his stomach, but boy, Bahamian women have a daddy appetite." And Mercedes Evans says, "I love the creativity, but do these recipes come to you in your dreams? Because ain't no way." Bahamian chefs are approaching the stoves with creativity once more, and Chef Mark is no exception. Comment down below if you're watching via live stream and tell me, would you eat this infamous hot dog? What condiments do you prefer? That's all for today's social media recap. I'm Matea, and this is Let's Talk Socials.
Well, Sion's busy getting this shoe pretty and pink, and if you want to see the completed shoe when it's ready, can you tell everyone your Instagram to go see it?
Yes, my Instagram is Liquify by Sion. Yes, Liquify by Sion on Instagram and Sion Kobe on Facebook.
Well, there you go. Now you know where to find it. I can't wait to see the finished result. We've already got the pink started right there.
Absolutely. It's looking great. I'm going to be looking for that on Instagram later on, but that's going to do it for Access Now for tonight. Make sure to meet us tomorrow right here when the ladies of Women United join us to talk about an upcoming symposium.
And stay tuned for the last newscast of the land with Corvell Pipram at 11 p.m.
Absolutely.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
At Rusty Bethel Drive, I'm Paisol Forbes. This is ZNS.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to invite the Honorable Fred Mitchell, who serves as the Member of Parliament for the Fox Hill constituency, Minister for the Foreign Service, and Chair of the National Honors Advisory Committee, to bring remarks and to present Prime Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, Minister Mitchell. Minister.
To quote Jack Thompson, you can do better than that. Good evening, Your Excellency, Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister, and Mrs. Deputy Prime Minister, Mrs. Cooper, and my parliamentary colleagues and colleagues in the Cabinet, the Advisory Committee, the public officials, and you who are being honored tonight. Let me add the words of congratulations and be the first to officially say to you, thank you for your service. You've done a wonderful job. This is a walk down memory lane. The Prime Minister was saying how many memories came to him as each of you came up, but he remembered his connections with you and the history of your participation in all the many accomplishments that have been put in the history books as a result of your work. And Myself, my colleagues were all doing the same thing. I told the students when we stepped aside that when they sang "When the Road Seems Rough," I remember sitting with Clement Bethel at the time, and he had these scraps of paper, and this is now turned into an official song, and these young people sang it so well, and he would have been really proud to see his work turned into what we heard tonight. And my colleague, Norris Carroll, the former justice, who now lives in Grand Bahama, retired, who went to law school in the UK at the same time I was there in 1973, and I didn't know he was a poet. The next thing I knew, he produced a song, "If the Good Lord Never Went on Holiday," and they sang that here tonight. I'm sure he was very proud as well to hear it. Beverly Wallace Whitfield was honored last year with the Order of Distinction. Mrs. Wallace Whitfield was the former Chief of Protocol at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. This year, she celebrated her 98th birthday. And the morning after she celebrated her birthday, on TikTok, there she was, saying, "I've started a podcast, and you must listen to this podcast because it's going to tell you all about etiquette and how you're supposed to behave." So if you want to know about etiquette, tune into Beverly Wallace Whitfield's podcast on etiquette. But what it shows you is life continues, and there's always a contribution you can make. And they say the difference between when you reach 90 and getting to 100 is not whether you take your blood pressure pills or the diabetes pills, which you should take if you have to take them, but whether you have good relationships and good friendships, and whether you still have contact with society. And we want to be sure, by giving these awards today, that we say we appreciate what you've done, but we want you to continue to participate in the society, because we need you. I want to tell you a story of two people tonight. One is Michael Ferguson. Michael Ferguson is 17 years of age. He received the Lignum Vitae Award yesterday. And he did so because he was on a bus going to school at the Doris Johnson Senior High School. And a lady's car overturned. She was trapped as a result of the accident and could not get out of the car. He jumped off the bus without any prompting, cracked the window with his bare hands, and pulled her out of the car. He never said a word. He just went to school that morning like nothing happened. I think he asked the nurse if they could bandage his hand, but didn't say what the problem was. Later in the day, the lady herself came to the school because she wanted to find out who this young man was, because she credited him with saving her life. 17 years of age. And then there's the story of Andrew Demerit. His widow, Linda, is here. I think he died something like 20 or so years ago. He's a contemporary of ours. Andrew was one of the founders of the Progressive Young Liberals. And I remember him like yesterday. He's a citizen of Fox Hill, but always consumed and concerned about public policy. And if he were here today, he would be proud to receive this honor from people who were his contemporaries in the political struggle. And then there are the Junkanoo leaders. Yesterday we honored Gus Cooper and Vola Francis and Stan and Jackson Burnside. And then there's my friend Calvin Brown, who's sitting in the second row. The Prime Minister leaned over to me and said, "You're fixing up all your people this year." That's not so. I had nothing to do with it. But he's being honored this evening. And I remember Phil Stubbs tonight. What did he say? "I'm proud to be a Bahamian." Pat Ramming said, "I am a Bahamian." And when we all go away from this country, we are ambassadors for the country. When our children leave and go and live in other countries and become successful in those countries, and I get to speak to them, and I say, you have to make and continue to make an investment in the Bahamas, because when we have a good reputation, the reputation which all of you today have helped to build, what does that do? That makes it stronger for them and better for them, even as they succeed overseas. Because once they hold up that passport and it shows Bahamian, people will be proud because we have the great nation which you've helped to create. So, we're small and we're nestled next to a giant. But, you know, I say to colleagues, you don't let people step on you with at least saying, ouch. As big, as powerful as someone is, we have a right to defend our way of life. So, part of that is, please wear the medal every official occasion there is. Wear the medal and wear it proudly. See all these officers here today? I told the commissioner she needs another one. So, wear the medal proudly. Carry the post-nominal behind your name every time there's some official function, and wear it proudly and the post-nominals proudly. I wish to acknowledge with thanks the people who thought of this whole idea and fought for it. The National Heroes Day Committee, which was then headed by Reverend Sebastian Campbell, Loretta Butler Turner, Maxwell Turner, Code Smith, the Reverend C.B. Moss, the late Al Dillette, the late Terrence Bethel, Arthur Mabeau, and Freddie Munnings Jr. And I wish to acknowledge the advisory committee at this time, responsible for advising the Honorable Prime Minister on these awards. And they include Shannon Dawn Cartwright, MP, Maxine Duncombe, who is the Secretary to the committee, Right Honorable Francis Carey, Assistant Commissioner of Police Janet McKenzie, Justice Camille Gomez, Constance McDonald, Attorney at Law, Tamika Lundy, who works with the University of the Bahamas, Mr. Jack Thompson here from Government House, and Anita Colley-Pratt, who is our citizen and representative of the Southern Bahamas and is a proud islander of Acklands. There she is. So let's thank all of those for their work. I leave you with this. In 1980, I had the honor of spending the night on a ship which is now out of commission called HMBS Marlin. Its sister ship, more famous or infamous or notorious, would be HMBS Flamingo. But Marlin and Flamingo were cast at the same time. There was an operation which was going on an island called Key Lobos, which is near the Cuban coast of the Bahamas. There was an incursion by illegal migrants, and it had received the attention of the U.S. press. And it was my job as a then reporter to go on the ship to investigate what had happened and to bring back the report to the people in Nassau. And I got an appreciation for the work which the people of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force have to do in defending this country. And I've never forgotten that experience. I want, therefore, to pay a special tribute to those in the Royal Bahamas Defense Force and the Royal Bahamas Police Force who protect and defend us every day. But in this and on this occasion, in particular, to thank those of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force who are stationed in the Republic of Haiti, defending Bahamian interests in that troubled land. They're doing an extraordinary service, and they deserve the praise and thanks of this community, and I commend them to you this evening. So, once again, I want to thank you for your service, say congratulations to you all. It's been a privilege to serve in this position and to watch all the smiles on your faces, the applause of your families, the praise which has come from all the public officials. And I'd ask you to stand at this point to greet the Prime Minister, who will come and address you and add his thanks for your service. God bless you, and God bless the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Thank you very much. Will you please be seated. Your Excellency, honorees, your families, our distinguished guests, my parliamentary colleagues, your present, all, ladies and gentlemen, good night. Yesterday, I stood before other groups of honorees, and I spoke about the story of our people, about how a barefoot boy from Cat Island could one day grow up to lead this country. That story still sits in my heart today because it is not just my own story. It is the story of the Bahamas. It is the story of every man and woman who began with little more than faith, determination, and love, and still found the strength to rise. When I spoke yesterday, I said that I never imagined it was God's will that that boy who once ran along the dusty track roads of Old Bight would one day stand before the finest sons and daughters of our nation. And as I look out at you now, I feel that same gratitude. You remind me once again of who we are. The names may be different today, but the spirit is the same. You come from every island, every settlement, and every walk of life. You have carried your duties with dignity, and you have served without fanfare. Some of you have served in uniform. Some have taught in classrooms. Some have cared for the sick, built communities, or given your time to the causes that have strengthened our nation. Every one of you, in your own way, has built upon the same foundation: faith, love, and service. You remind us of what we have in common. We may come from different islands and speak in different accents, but our hearts are united by a shared devotion to this land and to one another. Yesterday, I told the honorees that the Bahamas was not built by the wealthy or the well-known, but by ordinary people who lived with extraordinary love, people who gave their time when others were too busy, people who shared what little they had when others had much more, people who believed that our neighbors' struggles were our own. That message still holds true today. You, our honorees, are living proof of that spirit. When I think back to my childhood in Cat Island, I remember the power of community. If a roof blew off, the men came with their hammers, their saws, and their nails. If a child was hungry, another family shared what little they had. If sorrow came, the whole settlement gathered to comfort and pray. That was the Bahamas that raised me, a place where love was not a word, but an action. And it is that same spirit that continues to guide our country. It is the reason we survive the storms that come our way. It is the reason we can stand together in both triumph and trial. You, our honorees, carry that same spirit. Through your work, your faith, and your compassion, you remind us that being Bahamian is not just about where we live, but how we live. We are gathered here today to honor your service, but in truth, your service honors us. It honors the nation. It strengthens the next generation. Your lives tell a story about what it truly means to lead. You know, leadership is not about position or title. It is about responsibility. It is about standing up when others sit down. It is about giving more than you take and loving your country enough to serve it quietly and faithfully. You have done that, and for that we give thanks. I also want to speak directly to some of our young people. Yesterday I told those gathered that I began life with no great privilege, or no privilege at all. No road map to success. Faith that if I work hard, faith that if I kept my word, faith that if I help others, God would open doors I could not see or even dream to imagine. That faith carried me from the shores of Cat Island to this moment. And that same faith can carry any young Bahamian who believes that their beginnings do not define their destiny. Service is never wasted. Goodness never goes unnoticed. And the love you show others will always find its way back to you. Over these 2 days, I've been struck by something very powerful. Every honoree, no matter their background, has one thing in common: love for the Bahamas, love for our people, love for the communities that shape them. And that love is what has carried us as a nation. It is what binds us together when the world around us changes. It is what reminds us that our greatest wealth is not in gold or in land, but in the character of our people. That is why these honors matter. They are not just medals and titles. They are symbols of gratitude. They are our nation's way of saying thank you to those who remind us that goodness still lives here. On behalf of the government and the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, I thank you for your sacrifice, your strength, and your service. Thank you for showing us what love looks like when it is lived out loud. Thank you for proving that our country is still full of good people who do good things for no other reason than it is the right thing to do. Your names will be remembered, but even more important, your example will be followed. As I stand here tonight, I still carry that barefoot boy from Cat Island in my heart. He still remembers the rhythms of the sea, the laughter of his neighbors, and the sound of his grandmother praying in the quiet of the night. He still believes in a God who takes small beginnings and turns them into mighty things. And as I look out at you, I see the living proof that God's grace continues to shine upon this nation. Your service reminds me of a hymn that has carried many Bahamians through both joy and hardship. And that song, that hymn, Blessed Assurance. Jesus is mine. Oh, what a foretaste of the glory divine. Heir of salvation, purchase of God, born of his Spirit, washed in his blood. Those words remind us that everything we are and everything we become is made possible by grace. May that same assurance strengthen us as a people. May it keep us kind, humble, and faithful in our service to others. May it remind us that every act of goodness, no matter how small, makes this country stronger. So to our honorees, we thank you. To your families, we thank you. And to our God who has been faithful through every season of our national life, we say from the depths of our heart, to God be the glory. Thank you.
Prime Minister, we thank you sincerely for your words of encouragement and inspiration. Prime Minister attended all 3 of our investiture ceremonies, and we know how busy our Prime Minister must be. Ladies and gentlemen, let's show gratitude to our Prime Minister one more time. I wish to give a short vote of thanks because oftentimes we see the presentation, but sometimes we may not know what is behind it or the persons who made it happen. So I beg your indulgence to give a short vote of thanks, ending our 3 ceremonies. Please join me as we give a round of applause to Her Excellency, the Governor General and the Chancellor of the National Societies of Honor, and who would have presented over 500 awards and honors. Please, let's hear it for Her Excellency. I said to Her Excellency this morning, she not only presented the awards, but with a beautiful and charming smile. And that makes all the difference in the... I should like to also recognize and thank the staff at Government House, Under Secretary Turner and the entire staff. Please, let's show some love for the staff. Mr. Stephen Collins and the hardworking staff at Government Printing must be recognized. We have over 500 bios, and so we're putting them into 2 volumes for you. We will have volume 1 and volume 2, but they worked into the wee hours of the morning. Please give Mr. Collins and his staff a round of applause. I'd like for you to give a round of applause to Mr. Terry Archer, the protocol team from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Mr. Tracy Cooper and the Bahamas Air staff, Mr. Ralph Monroe, Mr. Neville Stubbs. Let's give them all a round of applause, please. We recognize our staff at the London office for the role that they played. They helped us out very well. We recognize Mr. Gregory Wilkinson for the decorations here and the decor, please. Mr. Stephen Francis, our technical engineer. We recognize Bahamas Information Services for the photos that you will receive. And I really want you to fix up and treat good Minister Mitchell and the members of the National Advisory Committee. They're here. They've done very well. The Force Chief Dwayne Roll and the escorts, who did a marvelous job from the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. Permit me to acknowledge and thank the Commissioner of Police, Ms. Shanta Knowles, and her aide, Commodore of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, Mr. Floyd, and his aide, Moxie and his aides. They've done us very well. We should like to also thank the attendees here. This is the 3rd session, and they've all been, but this one is packed to capacity. Give your supporters who are here to support you, the honorees, a hand. Your family members came out in strong numbers. Your spouses, your aunts, your uncles, your children, your great-grand, your great-great-grand, your niece and your nephews, they're all here. Give them a round of applause to show appreciation for the support of family members. We would like to thank all of the persons who were on our program. Those students performed very well. All the instrumentalists, they all did very well. The invocation and this combined band, they just brought it home. Let's give them another round of applause. I'd like to thank Ms. Carla Cole, the principal and the teachers at the C.I. Gibson, C.B. Bethel yesterday, and all the performers. They did very well. My final thanks is to the honorees for being here. You look so, so well. We must take some pictures in a couple of minutes, some photos. I'd like to thank those that I inadvertently left out. There's always someone who you left out. That's why I don't like give vote of thanks, because someone always come and say you left out. So in view of that fact, I will thank all of those now that I forgot to thank. Let's give them a round of applause. Just to be sure. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings our ceremony to a close. We will sing the national anthem and remain in our places for the official photographs. Please stand for the national anthem of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
And that brings 2025 national honors to an end. As we end this broadcast, I'd like to thank Robert Johnson, Steve Williams, and Tinaj Fraser of ZNS, and also Soundcrate for their technical provisions throughout this broadcast over the past 2 days. I'm Julian Reed. Good night.
In 1953, the United States began using a female name for storms. And by 1978, both male and female names were used to identify northern Pacific storms. This was then adopted in 1979 for storms in the Atlantic Basin. The National Hurricane Center does not control the naming of tropical storms. Instead, there is a strict procedure established by the World's Meteorological Organization for Atlantic hurricanes. There is a list of male and female names which are used on a 6-year rotation. The only time that there is a change is if the storm is so deadly or costly that the future use of its name on a different storm would be inappropriate. These are the names of the storms for the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season: Andrea, Barry, Chantal, Dexter, Erin, Fernand, Gabrielle, Umberto, Imelda, Jerry, Karen, Lorenzo, Melissa, Nestor, Olga, Pablo, Rebecca, Sebastian, Tanya, Van, Wendy. This public service announcement was brought to you by the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas in conjunction with the Disaster Risk Management Authority.